At LSI, we don't just follow trends, we help shape the future. Welcome to Behind the Win, the podcast where we break down the biggest moves in tech, innovation, leadership, and government contracting. Here at LSI, we're bringing you exclusive conversations with the minds behind groundbreaking advancements, disruptive strategies, and industry-defining wins. From retail to tech, defense to government solutions. This is where you get the insights to stay ahead. Let's go behind the win.
Welcome back to Behind the Win. We're talking about how a city positions itself for growth, visibility, and long-term impact without losing what makes it special. And a big part of that conversation right now is Ogden, especially with the momentum around the Ogden Airport and new commercial service, including Breeze Airways. Joining me today is Casey Sanders, the Airport Marketing and Business Recruitment Manager for Ogden-Hinckley Airport, where he's leading efforts to bring in new service and drive economic growth through aviation. He also serves as an honorary commander with the Hill Air Force Base, giving him a unique perspective on the connection between the airport, the defense community, and the broader region. All right, Casey, thank you for joining the show today. We're excited to have you.
Thank you.
Let's start with what is getting a lot of attention right now. We were just talking about it a little bit on with the news and everything is the Ogden Airport. What is happening there and why does it matter?
Well, the really cool thing about the Ogden Airport is, so I grew up in Riverdale. And
You did?
I did.
Okay.
And if you know where the Ogden Airport is, it's right down above a hill to Riverdale. So I always knew about it. And I was like, oh, it's just this little airport. It hasn't really achieved anything. But this year, November, there was a grand opening of a new terminal. And the new terminal, you have to go see it. Like there's horses,
It's amazing.
there's Disney art, there's all sorts of things. So we're getting a new restaurant here in July. So there'll be
Oh, you
food.
are?
Yep.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah, lots of new food, and it's local Ogden restaurant, but I can't announce it. But the nice thing about it is that you'll have all the conveniences of a big airport, but just small. And what I like to say, it's the golden age of travel because you get to go, you park for $5, you walk into the airport, you're at the check-in, then you walk through TSA, then you get to board the plane. So if you're going to California, there's no other
Amazing. Yeah.
place you want to go. But it's Breeze Airways, and they're a Utah-based company as well. So
I did not know that Breeze Airways was Utah-based.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
okay.
it's all kind of like connected that you have a Utah-based company that it's assisting a local airport. And I was just there at the flight before I came and saw you. And this gentleman came up and he's like, thank you for what you do. We live in Logan and it's already, an hour to get here. So if he had to go to Salt Lake, that's another 2 hours. And he has family in California. So if he could go there, it just saves him all that time, and then he doesn't have any hassle. So
I have family in Idaho Falls, Rexburg,
Yeah.
and they all come to Salt Lake just to go to Disney, right? Or to
Yeah.
fly out there. So I think that is going to, amazing for a lot of
yeah,
people.
see, they can save their drive if they just go to Ogden. I mean, the schedule is just Thursday and Sunday now,
Yep.
but
And that'll increase as it gets busier. Or they
Yep.
see kind of that influx.
yeah. So we are getting close to announcing, hopefully, more additional days to Orange County. So
Awesome.
it will make it so when you go book, you're like, oh, I can't fly Thursday or Sunday, but I can book Wednesday to Wednesday. So
Right.
people love it.
So what do you think, bringing Breeze in, opening that terminal signals for Ogden?
I think it's connectivity. So, right now we have a world-class airport, but it's 40 minutes away. And, I-15 right here at Hill Air Force Base, we have construction going on and,
Everywhere.
everywhere.
Construction everywhere.
So
Yeah.
if you can take that out and, still just go, you can travel and connect for business. So I'm the business recruitment manager for Ogden City. We actually took the flight last year at this time and did a business recruitment trip. And we visited aerospace and defense companies, and it was right there in Southern California. So we didn't have to go anywhere. So for connectivity for my role,
Yep.
and for people that are doing business, you can get to the coast and do a business trip. And then 70% of the guests actually go to Disneyland off of this flight.
We're like, hey, Disney, can we get a discount for Utahns?
Exactly.
That's great. What opportunities does this open up for additional business, tourism, and just the region overall?
Well, I think because, Ogden Airport. It's been there since 1944. Before that, it was actually where the Ogden Regional Hospital was, so that right across from Hill Air Force
Yep.
Base. It's always had that tie to aerospace and defense. I was just going through some old pictures yesterday, and when we had the dedication, we had all the commanders from the base. There was an army depot in the 1940s, so it just connects the base and tourism to Ogden for the base, and then for our regional ski resorts. I mean, you just look
Oh,
at the
absolutely.
mountain range right there where it's based, and you have Wasatch Peaks. It's a private ski resort, and then right in the middle there's Snow Basin with Weber State University, where the Utah 2034 games are going to be, and then you have Powder Mountain, which is the largest ski resort in acreage in the nation,
Yep.
and then Nordic Valley is right there too. And there's not that many places where you can be at an airport and you can point out all these different
Right there.
tourism activities going on. And that's just not in the winter, it's in the summer. People go up to Pine View Dam and they're exploring. And then downtown Ogden is literally less than 2 minutes away. So you can enjoy all the restaurants and activities like the Twilight concerts in the summer. So
Do you still live up here now? You grew up in Riverdale. Are you up
so
this
I
way?
I do live up here now. I live
Okay.
in Washington Terrace. So I was in the
Okay.
hole or the river, and then I moved up to Washington Terrace, and so I went to Bonneville High School. I'm a
Yeah.
Laker,
Okay.
so I still do live in this area, and um, part of it is interesting because I grew up in Riverdale and then I moved to the Terrace when I was a teenager. And I look at the base from that avenue and I didn't find out till now. If you look over there, we're a large supply, we're a maintenance depot, but we also supply all the ammunition and stuff.
Munitions. Yep.
And you're looking and going, I look at it different now today than I would when I was younger. So I
Absolutely.
thought it was just an airfield.
And the respect, right? I
Oh
think
yeah, it's very respectful.
my 5-year-old this weekend, we're outside and he's like, the jets are so loud. I was like, that's freedom, bro. Shut up. You
Well, it
know,
was
like,
just this it was just this weekend too. Did you see the news? Like we hear the Jets, like I just pulled up and we hear the Jets all the time. But
always.
just the whole news cycle this past week was
They're
Salt
like,
Lake.
they're
We're
all
like,
over. They're crazy.
yeah,
It's cool. I'm like,
we're like, this is normal occurrence here.
yep.
Well, even at the Ogden Airport, when I'm there welcoming the Breeze flight for our guest, you're sitting there and the F-35s can go over because it's still military airspace,
Yep.
even above the Ogden Airport.
Really?
Yeah, so
Okay,
you'll
I
see
didn't know that.
F-35s going this way while the Breeze and general aviations are at different altitudes going that way. So it's a very interesting. We have aviations deeply in the roots of Ogden.
Interconnected for
Yeah.
sure. Ogden is definitely evolving in how people perceive it, I think for sure over the last several years. But what do you think has driven that shift?
I think the great thing and what our mayor says when I joined Ogden a year and a half ago is that Ogden's always been like at the forefront of innovation
Mhm.
and defense, but then we also get poor at the right time that we're not able to take down these historic buildings. So we've been able to preserve these by necessity where, oh, we can't do that. But then now Ogden's growing and being at that kind of growth spurt again where
Yeah.
we have the Wonder Block development downtown. It's 100,000 square feet of office space, boutique
Where's that at?
hotels. So Wonder Bread, so right off of 25th Street, there used to be the
Okay.
Wonder
Yep.
Bread Bakery.
Yes.
They when that closed down, we took the whole bakery manufacturer that was basically downtown Ogden, and it's going up. There's a 800 parking stall garage that
Oh,
when you
wow.
go, you don't have to drive down 25th Street like a
Looking
million
for a
times anymore. You can just go there, park, walk to your favorite destination. So I think that's the growth, is that we have this historic development of transportation and connectivity with the Union Station, the airport, and then but we have this historic feel that a lot of places have destroyed. Like you go down to downtown Salt Lake, you have a little tiny bit of historic, but it's a building that just is either brand new or it popped up in the
renovate.
70s.
Yep.
Yeah, so I think that charm really helps, and we're kind of Hollywood's film story for like Hallmark movies too. Like my parents
Yellowstone, all those. Yeah.
Yellowstone. When I grew up there, my parents had a store on 25th Street. So there was lots of filming that was done that was there that people would just be like, oh, so they kind of like it's captured in the classic films. So when you go, you're like, why does this feel familiar?
Because
And then
this is, I feel like you're like the lost brother of my husband, but I'm laughing because his grandparents off 24th Street owned Motorview Inn, the
really,
hotel,
really,
forever. Yeah, it's in our garage, like the sign and everything. But he was like showing me a Chevy Chase movie that it was like what made it
yeah,
famous.
uh-huh.
I'm like, and so it is funny because Ogden, everywhere you go, someone's like, oh my gosh, this was filmed here. This was
Yes,
filmed here. It's like
yeah.
their claim to fame, you
Yeah,
know?
that's exact. I didn't know your husband actually did that either.
Yeah.
That's cool. It
So,
is. You go past the high school, right? And
yeah.
you're like, why is? I mean, the high school was built in 1934, I believe, and it was during the Depression. But they, federalized it, made it a really great Art Deco school. But that was in like 20 movies. And people drive by and it's pretty, but then they're like, why do I remember that?
Yeah.
It's because we've had Hollywood films that we go, I've seen that before. And when you have that little memory, you're like, okay, that's good.
That's great. What do you think people still don't fully understand about Ogden yet? And
I,
maybe you touched on it a little bit with like the access. I mean, I think that's a great one. Like you have access within 20 minutes to ski slopes, lakes, mountains,
Mhm.
you know?
I think Ogden kind of is still undeveloped a little bit. Like we do have the Wonder Block, but then a lot of people, when they go, like especially if they come. So before I started in Ogden, I had an opportunity to go work in Salt Lake, and I was like, oh, I've never worked in Salt Lake. I worked at statewide agencies, and you're like, oh, let's go. But then there's this great divide of coming up to like we're here in LSI, we're in Layton,
Hmm.
but some people just never leave this downtown area of Salt Lake. So I think just getting them up there so they can have awareness of what's being built and what's really the necessity, what's there, and just getting them to see it. Where when you tell some people that have grown up in Utah, they're like, "Oh, I don't want to go to Ogden. I've heard really bad stories," but those are like the people that grew up here, and it's changed completely.
Immensely,
Yeah,
for sure. And I grew up in like the south end of the Valley of Salt Lake,
yeah,
so I came from Riverton, South Jordan area. But I didn't know anything past Lagoon existed,
yeah.
right? Till 15 years ago, I moved up here, and then someone said, "Well, you have Hill Air Force Base, the largest employer in Utah." I was like, "What? That's crazy," you
Yeah.
know? And so I think it is this hidden gem with Ogden and everything, just like you said, the historic and the charm. And I mean, I don't
I think
know.
that's um a perfect example that a lot of people don't know, and I didn't even growing up. So when I was in the terrace, I went to a junior high that's called TH Bell Junior
Yep.
High. But the interesting fact is, I always were wondering, no one could tell me when I went to school through high school and junior high, why we had a Minuteman as our mascot. And I'm like,
Yeah.
why do we have a Minuteman? We're not in the East. But then I realized the school was built in 1965, and that's when we got the Minuteman III nuclear
Oh
weapons
my
system.
gosh. Is that
So
why?
that is why. So when in the 60s, they came in full force and said, this is the nuclear program. This is helping Hill Air Force Base. This is why it's there. So we're going to name the school Minutemen because of that. See, I see
Wow,
your
I did
eyes.
not know that.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And then
That's so cool.
even the base had a Minuteman outside the base that would say that. And you can see it at the Hill Air Force Museum. But I didn't connect that all till I got this role. Well, my 47G Utah Aerospace and Defense role. And then I did some research and I'm like, oh, but there's just some things we have aerospace and defense, but a lot of times, it's secretive work
Yeah.
that we do. So we
We're
don't,
like, for those who don't know, it's ICBM too, like
yeah.
intercontinental ballistic missiles. So, I mean, the Minutemen, that is crazy. I did not know
Yeah, see,
that.
so but that is a interesting fact that you're like, why are these things called this? And then that's why.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. Okay, let's talk. You mentioned a little bit about Olympics with 2034 Olympics coming up. There's a bigger spotlight coming, I think, than when, we had it in 2002. But what does that mean for Ogden beyond just the event itself?
Well, I think so. When my parents owned that store in 2002, I was working in California and I came back. And I can tell you, the town that I left and went and worked in California, and the town I came back for that week was a total different town. We had visitors from around the world. It was like a catalyst that, when you have that many different cultures coming and they see the area and
Melding, yeah.
different investments that come afterwards, I think it's just going to be another catalyst, especially since we have all the venues made, that when people come and they see the area, we'll have economic growth from the event. But I think afterwards, you'll have families moving here and, families just knowing about the area in general. But the growth will be natural. It won't be like overpopulated. So you'll just have more tourism during those months. And
We always say organically to calm people down,
yeah.
calm down people. But I try to tell folks too, with especially when we're going after infrastructure money for them or whatever, is that if we didn't have the Olympics, we wouldn't have tracks, front
Yep.
runner. We wouldn't. There's so many things we wouldn't have the enhancements in all of the different parks and arenas and whatever that they use. So it's such a. I mean, I love it.
I think one of the reasons why we're getting a boutique hotel on 25th Street, which we don't have one now. I mean, the hotels, there's some true hotels downtown, but this boutique one is like, if you imagine what 25th Street is, like, historic
Yeah,
1920s, like all the decades that it's lived through, this hotel chimes that. And it's called the Rumor Hotel because they want people to feel that charm in this hotel, where the other Marriott that's been there since
yeah,
the 1980s, I think, it's just a classic Marriott, nothing special. But this actually brings that in, and I think that the Olympics catalyze that you can have that charm and
absolutely.
have people, experience when you walk in and when you go to the hotel at night. So I think you just get that higher class of availability too, that if we didn't have these events, we don't want to have that. So
100%. So how do you grow into the spotlight like we can again with the Olympics without kind of losing Ogden's identity?
Ogden's identity, I don't think will dwell on this. I think Ogden identity will chime on this, and the airport's a perfect example. When I got the project, so I was actually thrown on the airport project. So I'm the business recruitment manager, but right before it opened, I was kind of like, we need assistance to help with the airport. And um, when we got the airport, if you go in there now, it's like this collage of the Ogden area. So you walk in and there's a giant Ogden Pioneer Day rodeo horse that was never, we used to just have them out in the month of July, but now we have the horses there inside the airport.
All the
And
time.
then a giant mural that says, "Welcome to Ogden, Ogden's Pioneers Days." And then we have Weber State mural and another mural of the city in the snow and the F-35s. So it's kind of like this mini taste of the area. And I think that's what will shine through the Olympics, is that Ogden's Ogden, and we're not going to lose it because it's deeply rooted into trains, transportation. We're still untamed is what our city logo is. And I think we'll always have that. I think we'll have areas that are untamed, but people kind of like enjoy that and
Yeah.
like kind of support that. Like, we're different from the other towns in Utah. And I think that's what will be for the Olympics. I think we won't be Salt Lake, but you'll come up to Ogden and you'll have a good time, and you'll get to see the different venues that we have that other places don't. So,
When we talked with Sarah Tolliver
yeah,
on last year, I know you guys are all really fighting to make sure we get the events back that were in this area and to
yeah,
try to keep those. And so I think it's great. I mean, I commend you guys for that too, but I love that you mentioned, like the Ogden Rodeo. I think that's a great one where it's we've seen it grow so much. I mean, and we always go to the Paris or Air Show for work for defense, and so I get to miss like I don't get to, but I have to miss it every year.
yeah,
But I feel like my in-laws last year were like, "Hey, we're gonna get online and get the Ogden Rodeo. It's sold out in 6 minutes."
yeah,
I was like, "This is insane." But I think it's amazing too. At the same time, just like when people know it from an economic development standpoint of like, you said we're going to grow slow or organic, and it's not going to be this rush, but we need this stuff to just for economic prosperity for sure.
yeah. It is. It's just those events that are, they've succeeded time too. Like, they have highs and lows. Sometimes the rodeo is just a normal good rodeo, and then sometimes
Yeah, bro was
it's
like,
a,
I think 6 years ago we were going to close the doors, and now it's like insanity.
yeah,
So
it's like these things always come back, just because it's built in, the tradition of the city. Like, I can tell you, I did not think I was a rodeo guy until actually this year, and I was like, really is deep in culture. And when it comes, there's like so much rodeo and horses going on that you're like, I'll get a pair of cowboy boots and a hat just
yeah,
because it's deeply rooted. And sometimes, like, cowboy stuff wasn't, Western stuff wasn't cool, but like we said, Yellowstone was filmed. So a lot of times now, cowboys is more popular than ever.
Absolutely.
So
I'm here for the cow. Like I grew up, well, Riverton was sticks back
yeah.
then, not anymore, but
So see, you were cool before
yeah.
it was cool.
I'm gonna tell everyone that. How do you think about tourism as part of like a long-term economic, strategy? And maybe for the airport, do you guys see it like Breeze is great and they're your, inaugural champions?
Yeah.
And do you guys see that like growing like, hey, we want to have a couple airlines or all days of the week, or what does that look like?
Well, I think it all goes back to connectivity. I think if we can have one flight a day that's
Hmm.
commercial,
That would be happy. You
that would
guys
be
would
the
love
happy,
that.
because our number one complaint is like what I said is, oh, I want to book this trip, but I only have this day and this day that works with my schedule. So then
Sure.
they have to go explore and go, oh, Salt Lake, Provo.
Hmm.
Um, but if we could have one flight a day in another destination and just that ease of growth, there's a lot of growth coming to the Ogden Airport that isn't just commercial. Like we're the largest general aviation, where we have like 4 private pilot schools. So a lot of people are
In
learning to
Utah.
fly in
Like
Utah.
here's the big wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then we have a large FBO where we have private charters for those ski resorts that are coming. And just right now, there's hangars being discussed to be developed there too. So we're having natural growth, and then having the Utah Olympics coming, having something that's a little bit out, but not too far out. Because if you're building a building, you really could only build like 2 or 3 large buildings during that time, and then
Right.
they're here. So I think it's a good time to have this economy, all weather season sporting events at all this time on Friday. We're going to MV Bikes. They're a carbon composite manufacturer here in Ogden too. And after the pandemic, outdoor recreations, they had this low and then a
Hmm.
really super high. So they bring people and tourism to Ogden too to enjoy our trails and
Really.
everything.
Oh,
So
that's cool.
yeah.
When you look at everything that's happening, or we talked about, right, tourism, Olympics, airport, what feels like the biggest opportunity to you right now?
I think the biggest opportunity is just synergy between all of them. I mean, if you can connect the dots and have the airport downtown activation with, there's a new development with the Ogden Union Station. And if we can connect all these together and have a catalyst where the plan is, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years out, and we can connect all that together, I think that's the biggest opportunity, is to do it the right way and to bring like a new hotel, a downtown grocery store. Um, the Wonder Block has 350 apartments that will be available.
Wow.
So that's a big boom to the area, because people will be able to attend the downtown events and the restaurants. And you can have that where it's all walkable at one time.
Well, and we see a lot of these, right? Whether that's Jordan Landing, the district, the commons, like it's kind of building this ecosystem that we're all familiar with terminology wise, right? Around so that everybody's got everything where they need it. And I love the apartments. I know some people bitch about apartments, but I'm like, guys, do you have kids that are in their 20s? Because I do, and they can't afford a house.
Yeah, I
Who can
mean,
afford a house with this interest rate right now? So
you can't, I mean, when we grew up, well, we were always wanted houses.
yeah.
But if you look at, like, I just toured the U of U with my daughter, and if you look at how the U of U dorms are set up, like when I went to school at Weber State, you had one location you went and got food at the Union building,
Mhm.
and that was the U of U too. Everyone had to walk trek the whole campus and go to the Union. But now,
Uphill.
yeah,
It was
uphill. But
uphill.
now the U of U has a
Mhm.
a door has a cafe in bottom every one of those buildings. So they're kind of like mini
Community,
downtowns
yeah.
that they're kind of preparing our kids now. So when they go to school, they live there, they eat there. And so in the future, if their first job is in a city, you move out, you go to an apartment, you live there, eat there, start your family there, and then when you get your career starting, then you can move out and get a home. So
Yeah.
it's like
We're
a
a little bit
nice,
spoiled here with that because I mean that's other states and other countries for sure,
yeah,
right? Apartments, you can live in those forever.
yeah.
Yep, right. And so I think it's such a good idea. And I love that we're kind of doing that more of those communities up here, because there's a bunch of them down south and Utah County's getting a bunch of those too. So I think that that's awesome. Where do you think Ogden is 5 to 10 years from now?
I think we'll just have a lot more activity going on that we're continually planning now, and a lot of the construction will be done by then, like with our roads.
Yeah.
So we're able to, by that time, we'll have more growth, but the right growth, so that people come in and they can enjoy the amenities that are being built. I mean, if the Union Station, when that gets planned and the construction's good, you can come in and enjoy the classic car museum or the Browning gun exhibit that a lot of people don't even know that are there, because it hasn't been updated really in a long time. But if you get a world class museum and amenities there, and the roads are going, you get a lot more tourism coming and enjoying your facilities, and just spending time nights there, and then spreading the news about Ogden, so it benefits everyone with that economic growth.
Absolutely. If you had to name one thing that happened for, you know, next to get to that you just talked about, what would that be?
I think we're there. I really think that the
On the cusp,
plans,
yeah.
seeing the inside of the plans, like a year and a half ago, if I was from the outside and I was looking at stuff, you kind of go, "What are they doing?" But now being in the inside and seeing how the inner workings of the city works, and what the plan and the Make Ogden plan, it's the 50-year plan, and what that's going on, I think the steps are being taken in the right direction. We just have to get over these little construction periods, and then um, we'll get there in a couple of years.
All right, Casey, you got some lightning round, like
Okay.
quick hits. So
Quick ones.
first thing that comes to mind, one or two words. One word to describe Ogden, Utah right now.
Growing.
Love it. Biggest opportunity for the city.
Connectivity still.
This is what's crazy too, is I think the corridor helps, but coming from further south, is that we had I-15, 215, Bangerter, Redwood.
Mhm.
Up here, like you got I-15 and that's it, right? Or
And
89 a
84.
little bit.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? So it's crazy, because when you say connectivity, it literally, yes, it is like literally connectivity.
Yeah, it's literally it's that gap between Salt Lake to Layton, and then Layton, Ogden, and it's just that connectivity again. I mean, like we say, lagoons there, but then
Mhm.
there's a lot of people that just don't go up there. So that's when I say connectivity. It's just connecting what we have now, and then future connectivity as well.
Absolutely. What makes Ogden different?
I think it's because we're still untamed. Like, we'll have positive stories, but then we also have those,
Renegades, like
renegades that. But that's what brings the culture. And I know our audience, but when I started too, being as a business recruitment manager, you're looking at what's providing. We have a ton of small businesses, but we're also a number one spot for tattoo parlors. So it's interesting.
Yeah, the convention was just here, right?
Yeah, the
Last
convention
weekend.
was
Yeah.
last week, and
I was like, there's a tattoo convention, and then we have friends that their kids are. They're like, yeah, it's one
yeah.
of like we love this.
It's one of those things where that's what makes Ogden, right? Like, we have a thing for everyone. Where if you go down to Salt Lake, sometimes there's just like really large events, but Ogden still has the smaller ones and bigger ones that you can go and,
It's like the boutique feel, like you
yeah,
said.
the
Yeah, that you
boutique
get.
feel that you're like, oh, this is nice. So
Best way for someone to experience Ogden for the first time.
where are they coming from? No, just
I know, huh?
that's
Outside the state.
outside the state. Well, I would say if you can get a flight from the airport, what I think, because it gives you that hometown feeling, like, whoa, I'm landing outside still. I don't get that experience. So that kind of welcomes you to Ogden, like, wow, look what I have. But it preserved, so the airport has the old terminal and then goes into the new terminal, so it preserved the past, so you get to see, wow, what am I going into, and then it welcomes you to the future. I think
For
that's
sure.
the best way to observe Ogden, is because the past is always there. You'll have historic 25th Street, but then you'll see the new Wonder Block development, and I think that's the best way to
Evolution.
explore
Sorry.
Ogden, is that you can enjoy that past, but also enjoy the future amenities that give you both worlds.
What's one thing you hope people say about Ogden in 5 years?
I think what they say now, but they also say that, wow, I did not know that was there. I
Yeah.
think that's
I've
the
said it like 3 times just today
yeah,
alone.
that
So
that is the thing. Like, what? I didn't know that was named. I like that because it shows that Ogden's keeping that, kind of mystique, and we want people to know, but we don't want them to know as That's what people ask me all the time at the airport. They go, "How many flights do you want?" Right? And I say, "Well, we want just that normal fill of flights. We don't want to be overcrowded, and I never want it. I mean, an economic development person saying that, you would be like, "Oh, why are you in economic development?"
Yeah.
But I know how you
To
want
do it
it done,
responsibly.
yeah,
Yeah.
responsibly and right, because then everyone enjoys their time. And if
Yep.
you go too fast, then you have other problems that come with that too. And I just want people to come in, enjoy their time, but then have economic growth at the right speed.
When I think if people have not experienced more of this, and I'm like talking to them, is regional experience, like smaller airport. I mean, I have not done Ogden's yet, but I've done Provo and I've done St. George. And I love that I show up 45 minutes before my flight
Yeah,
and that there's no one in TSA. And it's like, you know what I mean? It's amazing.
it
So,
is.
which coming from someone who's at the big airport about every other week,
Well,
but
that's what I was going to say.
yeah,
You fly a lot, and the big airlines have done a wonderful job because we get this like before I started at the airport or when I flew, I would always choose Delta because that was my like I
yep,
know what it is,
got
I
my
know what I'm getting,
points.
got
Yep,
my points. But when you have these opportunities and you can take the smaller ones, you're like, wait, yes, I do like Delta, but
yep,
if I'm not going international or if I have to connect through someone else because of, I'm going somewhere weird, nonstop is the way really to do it.
yep.
And from these smaller ones, it's really just like, oh, I could, I guess the best quote is we had Breeze Airways come up and he was at a conference and someone told him that lived in Ogden, I love it so much that I can be in my house because the airport's here, but
Yep.
you can be on the hill at Weber State. And he said, when I see the plane land, I know it's time to go to the plane because you have that much time
To
to
get
come board. So he's like, when the plane lands, I can board. I'm like, okay, that's really cool. Like I can
Yep.
watch your plane land. Where if you go somewhere else larger, you're
You're
like,
like, "Is my
okay,
plane here? Am I
yeah,
get what's going on?"
TSA, what am
Yep.
I doing? But yeah, and even TSA, they when I first met the team, because they come from the Salt Lake Airport, but when I was there and I was asking doing the surveys of why people come, and they said like flat out, she goes, "We don't like Ogden." I'm like, "What?" What? Tell me why. And she goes, "No, just kidding. We really do love Ogden because they love that. Like it's that old time feeling of like, here's that family. You don't have to wait in a long line that wraps around the building 100
Right.
miles or
Like
has
angry customers
this
asking or come
this
through.
secret wall where if you don't have clear anything, you walk and you're like, this is a long line. We can get through it. But then
Yeah.
as soon as you turn the wall, you're like, where's that
Yeah.
go? So yeah, they do really enjoy
I'd say
like
they probably all fight over those shifts, actually.
I think they do.
Case anything else going on up in your guys' neck of the woods you wanna give a plug for?
So Wonder Block will be coming online this fall.
Okay.
And then it'll slowly be building. But the Union Station will also be a new development where they want to kind of put the tracks. So when they build it, they save money. So they put the parking lot and the tracks on the end of the Union Station, where now, if they come back, they want to spend more money, but also make that connectivity where if you come up on tracks, you can actually go into the Union Station renovated. Well, that would be what the building was built for. So if you could do that with a hotel and office space there,
Sure.
you're just bringing back the past into the future. So then when you come up from Salt Lake or Provo or even down when they connect it to Logan, you'll be able to enjoy the street and be welcomed and be like, oh, what's on in Ogden? So I think that's a cool point that they're working on now.
That's amazing. Casey, this is such an exciting moment for Ogden, everything that you guys are working on in the airport, but thanks for giving us a behind the scenes
Oh
look and
yeah,
chatting with us today.
always love LSI.
And what do you guys have for even just airport and Ogden website that we can send folks to?
Yeah, so it's just ogdencity.gov,
Okay.
and then you can find all the development and also the airports off there too.
Amazing. Thank you, Fran.
Yeah.